out there somewhere, alone and frightened. Oh, the darkness, the days are long, life in hiding. Now my man.
Elizabeth Birawa, aged 52, is a resident of Chevando Kisalo Salo in Khbca division. Elizabeth is a widow and mother of 6. She was diagnosed with HIV in 2000, 5 years after the death of her husband. The community they live in witnessed her husband fall sick, waste, and breathe his last. This was evidence enough to raise suspicion. The community was anxiously waiting for the same signs and symptoms that her late husband manifested, and when they finally came, Elizabeth Birawa immediately became the talk of every turn and corridors.
Engeri gye nali nfaanana nali mukazi nga ebiseera biri nkyali muto nyirira nali nanga nange neeraba ng'embeera mbi nga bw'oyita ogenda okulaba bavuddeyo balingiza ng'olaba naawe.
The pain of stigmatization was unbearable. On several occasions, Elizabeth had people whispering out loud that she was suffering from HIV and AIDS. She contemplated changing resident, but was held back by the lack of money to move house.
Ngera nange ensonyi zinkwata ndizira ekitambala n'enkyeteekako ne ngamba nange n'emikwano bamaze okujja okulaba ngamba nange omukazi agenda mukazi naye alina kufa nga bansosola nange nga ndaba okunsosola.
The commonest form of stigma in Uganda against people living with HIV is gossip, verbal insults, and threats. Elizabeth was not spared. The taunting continued, with both adults and children joining in. There was no escape for her. She sought refuge from her house, although she couldn't sustain it for long. Many of her friends turned a deaf ear to her pleas for comfort. They feared contracting the virus from her touch.
Ebiseera ebyo nagendangako mu bannange emikwano nange nga akangendeko alinga nibbo wadi okuva ku makya ndi mu nnyumba wagenda nga okutuuka mu nnyumba ng'olaba bonna bonna amaaso ge baakutunuuliranga edda kali omu ye ng'olaba buli omu ali kali scared ng'atidde kiki nawe n'ogamba nange kino ki ekyantuukako.
She turned to God and found solace in one of the Pentecostal churches in the community.
Naberanga nnyo mu Bayibuli, naberanga nnyo mu kusaba, naberanga nnyo mu kwegayirira, naberanga nnyo mu kyaki eyo nga nti Mukama kubanga bajjanga ndi masabira nwanza nga nti guma ajja kuba bulungi, guma ajja kubeerawo ekintu kyo kyampa obuvumu.
Luckily for Elizabeth, her husband had left her rentals which sustained the family at the time. Some tenants left allegedly fearing their children could contract the virus. After some time, Elizabeth mustered the courage to seek psychosocial support in hospital where counselors and doctors offered help to get her back on track. Women like Elizabeth are most likely to be target of HIV stigmatization, which is an abuse of their rights. Despite the intervention on HIV and AIDS, stigma continues to be an issue in Uganda. A report released in 2013 titled The People Living with HIV Stigma Index Report showed that out of 1,000 HIV-positive people surveyed, 23% reported losing jobs and some were discriminated at work by either their co-workers or employers in 2012. People like Elizabeth Birawa need care that at times cannot be accessed. She now enjoys support from Khbca Home Care Initiative, a community-based organization. The center's focal person, Mastula Nachisozi, is motivated by the desire to help those affected and neglected.
I went through such an experience myself in 2005 after testing for HIV. And after losing my husband in that same year, March, I was so discriminated in the community. I was so much stigmatized. From that college, I decided I should go back in my community, sensitize my fellow people who were HIV positive, so that we can end that stigma and discrimination.
Elizabeth now lives a jolly, happy and normal life like she lived before. she looks at the future with much hope.
Discrimination, stigmatization are all forms of human rights abuse. It is unfortunate that Elizabeth did not report people in this community who discriminated her due to her HIV and AIDS status. The community are challenged, however, to accept people living with HIV and AIDS as their own. Richard Olwain, NBS Television, Sunset.
Out there somewhere, alone and frightened. Oh, the darkness, the days are long. Life in hiding.